In this video, we're going to be discussing whether Caterpillar is going to be coming back into the new truck engine market. The first question I usually get asked when people find out I work for Caterpillar or a Cat dealer is whether trucks are going to start having Cat engines in them again, or basically is Cat going to start making truck engines again and putting them in new model trucks. Now, whether you're talking about C12s, C15s, the older 3116s, 3126s, C7s, C9s, a lot of people that have owned these engines are quite brand loyal, especially on the C15s, and they tend to like their engines, so they like to see them in their trucks again. And usually I give two answers to this. The first one is Cat never got out of the truck market as far as selling parts or making money in that sector. Cat still makes, or I should say sells, hundreds of millions of dollars in Cat filters, engine parts, rebuild kits, and warranties. Now, the truck sector is under a division called the Power Division, which is mixed up with power generation. It's called Energy and Transportation now. So generator sales are part of the Power Division, but trucks are a large percentage of that. So the answer is really no. Cat, at least as far as I know, is not making new truck engines. Now, Cat has a new-ish CEO, Jim Umpleby, and he's been in charge since early 2017, so about 2 years. But really the person over trucks is William Ainsworth, and he's over the energy and transportation segment. So if they were going to be making new truck engines, this would be the guy in charge of that. Now, maybe one day he'll wake up on the right side of the bed and say, hey, you know, we're missing out here, and we've got really good brand loyalty. Let's start making truck engines again. But at this time, as far as I know, they are not going to. Now, let's talk about the Cat timeline that has led up to 2019. Now, we'll start in the year 2000, and that's about 19 years ago, and Cat was making lots of truck engines. This would be C15s, this would be 3126s, this would be C12s. These are great long-lasting engines, and up through 2007, with a few changes, such as they went to a two-turbo design on the C15s, the Cat engines didn't have a lot of engine changes. Now, of course, in 2007, due to EPA mandates, they switched to some EGR controls, they switched to a DPF system, and they started having more problems. But not just Cat, so did Cummins and the other engine manufacturers. Now, in 2010, that was the last year you could get an actual Cat engine in any of your vehicles. And after that, Cat had a split with PACCAR and Freightliner as far as putting the smaller engines in RVs. And they said, you know what, we're pretty much going to get out of giving you engines to put in your vehicles. And they also came up with the plan of having the Cat truck. And that came out in 2012. And that was Cat's plan going forward, was to run the Cat truck. Now, you see I have a blip on 2014 as well. And what that year was that was actually the peak of Cat truck part sales, 2014. So Cat had already been pretty much out of the market for 4 years, at least as far as engine manufacturing for other manufacturers went. But they sold the most parts in 2014. Now, the Cat truck was selling. It was not selling very well, and it wasn't using really a Cat engine. It was using a Navistar engine. And they were toying with the idea of how to make this truck better up to 2016 when they said, okay, you know what, we're just going to get out of this market for the time being, and they stopped production of the Cat truck. Now, 2017, that's when the ELD regulations went into effect, and a lot of the people with the 99 and older Cat engines, of course, most drivers don't like the ELD regs, so if they had one and it was still running well or they could rebuild it, they would stick with them. So that's one reason there's still a lot of Cat engines on the road, and of course, we're at 2019 right now. So Cat is still selling lots of truck parts, and for the time being, they have full support of their truck engines. And there's lots of reasons for this. One is all the Cat engines that were out there are pre-DEF. A lot of people don't like the DEF system, so if you're running a Cat engine, you don't have to worry about DEF. Many of the Cats, well, all the Cats before the 07 product didn't have DPFs. Also, if it's a 99 or older engine, you're ELD exempt for the most part. And there's still some Cat engines being put in newer trucks. And you might be asking, well, how is that possible? Well, Fitzgerald is still making glider kits as far as I could tell up to the making of this video. And it looks like the EPA is not enforcing the glider kit regulation yet, and it's probably going to extend up to 2021. Now, outside of the glider kits, what would a good way for Cat to be getting back in the industry would be? Well, I'm no CEO at Caterpillar, but I think the way they should have gone or could go would be to purchase or basically reinvent a smaller trucking manufacturer. Western Star's owned by Freightliner. Sterling's out of business. Autocar, I believe, too. But if they were to take a smaller manufacturer, such as one of these, there's several other ones out there, purchase the rights to them, they could then have a sole platform, not partnering with Navistar or a competitor, produce their own line of engines again, or revamp the C15s or C7s, and begin production again. I think they'd have a large base, and they also have a dealer network already. And you have to remember, Cat is already the largest diesel equipment manufacturer. It's not like a company that's gone out of business and trying to come back out of bankruptcy or something. So they have the funds, they have the engineers, they could do this, but it would take from the top down to really get this going again. Now, of course, the trucking market has changed a lot since 2010, and it's going to change a lot more. Now, of course, Tesla's trying to get into the electric truck market. I have a relative that's in the bus industry in California, and he says pretty much all the city buses are starting to go full electric. Now, on-highway and buses are very different in that buses are usually short haul opposed to a truck where it's long haul, but maybe Cat wants to just totally skip over that and just take a leap in front of all the other competitors when it comes to this new technology. I don't know. Maybe it's something they want to think about. But wanted to go over this video talking about the future and the current and the past of the Cat truck engines and kind of answer the question I get asked the most. Thanks for watching the video.